welcome everyone to the OCRL Race Report. I'm Baki Jr. alongside my hosts Scott Ickes and Jason Gaines, and we got to thank everybody for tuning in to this week's edition of the Race Report. It's going to be a good one. What do you say, Scott? A lot of action this past week, and definitely lots to talk about in this edition.
Yeah, there definitely is. We had a good week so far. Obviously starting out in the Truck Series at Dover, and Tuesday night's race at Chicagoland. It's a action-packed week here, and it's still going on with Thursday night's race at K&N.
Yeah, the K&N Pro Series was in O'Reilly Raceway Park. And Steve Anders actually got his first win of the season. Definitely looking strong. The new points leader, as Jesus Andrade is kind of getting behind the 8-ball there. Teams looking to pick up their pace as they go into Milwaukee. He's been really good there in the past. So has Steve. He's been coming on strong as the season's going on. And Eric Mickey's also right there. So that series seems to be developing pretty good. And Jason, you and your team have just driven away in the Nationwide Series. You guys picked up your second win of the season Tuesday night at Chicagoland Speedway, and people say you won on fuel mileage. No, you didn't. You were hands down the best car there, and me being what I considered the second best, and I'm not floating my vote or anything, but that's just where I was. I got the second place, and once I got about 5/10 behind you, I couldn't catch you. It was, you guys really have gotten on your game, and our engineers kind of separated, moved into different shops this week, and they're saying, look, you guys, you're on end of the fence, we're on our end of the fence. No more teamwork. We want to make sure that these drivers win this thing on their own. What do you got to say about all that?
Yeah, first off, I ain't going to accept what you said about the whole driving away with it. I mean, it's far from over. Anybody should realize that. I mean, I've got, I believe, 13-point lead over you and 15 on Corey, and yeah, anybody can, within, I'd say, 30 points, can easily get back into it. I mean, we're only halfway through this season, so I'm not looking at it as running away with it or having any kind of room to breathe whatsoever. I'm going in each and every week looking to get maximum points and try to hold everybody off.
And then as far as the team segregation, you want to elaborate a little bit more on that?
Yeah, it's, I'm with the teams being as close knit as we are at JRM, and we swap off setup help here and there, and everybody gets together and kind of helps each other out. But with two teams fighting tooth and nail for a championship, we're just going to try to back off and let each individual team do their own thing, and that way we can see which one can come out on top and just make it a fun little battle that way.
Definitely. Now, your team as a whole, and this is not from me being the team owner, this is me being the OCRL Race Report host. Your team has been successful in the Nationwide Series. You've got one of the veterans who has been the mastermind of winning these things right behind you in points, and yet now your teammate, looking at the standings here, 6th place, 40 points back. They've had a lot of good runs. You want to try to give his fans, maybe his haters, so to speak, a little insight on what you can see coming from that number 7 camp?
Yeah, with Jesus, he's going through a rough patch. I mean, he's got a lot of stuff on his mind, outside of the racetrack, and I know that he has some personal issues this week. Family member, I think, was in the hospital, and we're wishing everything works out good there. But I don't want to say sidetracked, but I tend to think that his mind sometimes is at other places, and I talk to him and try to get his head straight before each race, and with everything that we do at JRM, we're going to get him back where he needs to be. I mean, he's always fast. It's just keeping the mentality side of it in check is what he needs to look for.
Now, last question real quick before we move on to the next topic. We have just crossed the halfway point. We've got five down, 5 to go in the Nationwide Series, 40 points back. You think there's room for him to gain that back and maybe move up?
Oh, definitely. I mean, it's like I said, anybody can get on a run and pop off, at least 2, maybe 3 wins out of the next 5 if they get on a hot streak. And it's like I've mentioned to him before. He's down on himself about he thinks he's slacking off and not as good as he has been in the past seasons. But I look at it as I've had a lot of good luck fall my way this year. With the fuel mileage at Atlanta when I got that win, that was just good luck coming my way and good fortunes. And a lot of us have had some bad issues, fall in their lap, and has bounced back my way to the good. So that can change in a heartbeat too. I could have bad luck streak hit me the next 2 or 3 weeks, and then it's going to be a crapshoot.
Exactly, and I'm kind of in a bad luck spell in the Nationwide Series. Ran low on fuel, missed the mileage a little bit, and I was telling you and everybody in the shop that this morning, matter of fact, that let's not get down about that 5th place finish in Chicago, despite having as good of a car we did. But let's look back to this past Sunday when we went to Dover, and we won it on fuel mileage after having a real bad truck. So I mean, luck comes and luck goes. And you had mentioned that he had family matters, and he missed qualifying, didn't get to qualify the car. OCRL being that there's not a full field of drivers allowed him to race. He missed practice. He got into the race, and he had made a comment to the media that he wasn't included in any of the online stories, the news headlines or anything. Most drivers that were in the race and maybe didn't get as good of a finish as he did. And apologies to him as a team owner, and I kind of helped with the stories a little bit, but that wasn't nothing intentional by any means. But I do believe that right now, publicly on the race report, I do need to give him a hand that he did rally to a 6th place finish despite having no practice before the race, and it was pretty good. And actually, Scott, we're going to focus into this. A big segue from Jesus Andrade to Sean Sadler right quick. He had announced to the media earlier in the week before any of the races that, and I quote, "If anybody gets near me during caution, he is paying all the penalties and accepting all the fines." What do you think he was referring to on that?
I think he was just referring to the fact that over the past couple of weeks, he's had drivers run into him under caution when we all know to slow down. We all know where we should be at on the track, and most of the time guys are calling out, hey, we're in this part of the track, slow down, because if you come out of the pits and there might be a lap car that is still going around, we got to catch up to that car. And there were some drivers who just weren't slowing up fast enough, and they got too close, they slammed their brakes, and they couldn't slow down time, and they hit him. And I think now he's just kind of fed up with it, and now he's just saying, hey, I'm accepting all and any penalties and paying any fines for anything that comes my way.
And you're saying drivers. You and I both know there's one in particular, and I'll go ahead and let you say his name.
Oh, Andrew Mickey.
Yes, definitely.
He's had a couple runs in with me during cautions and whatnot, and I've talked to him after races, before races, that you got to make sure you got your head on straight while those cautions are on. There's no sitting back. There's no, okay, there's caution out, I can rest my arms. I mean, you got to be focused from lap 1 to the last lap.
Right, and I'm not trying to point his name out to start any problems, but it's the point of the season where rivalries are starting to build up. The tensions you can cut with a butter knife, a plastic butter knife at that. And we're seeing, just last night, you and Austin ran each other down the track. Me and him had a little scuff up down the backstretch. It just, right now is where the rivalries are at its most, and I think that 2 of the most calmest drivers in the garage here, you can go around and ask anybody, who the 2 most calm, I don't know if calmest is a word, but we're going to say the 2 most calm drivers, active drivers, who are they? And they would say Sean Sadler and Andrew Mickey, and these 2 are going at it, and it started out friendly. I was talking to Sean about it the other day before the Nationwide race, and he said, well, it started out as a friendly rival back in Bristol in the K&N Pro Series, and it's kind of escalated into something more. And it's not fun, I don't think, for either driver at this point anymore, but they didn't have any issues this past in the Nationwide Series race. But then again, Andrew wasn't on track. So as we move into later on the season, tomorrow in the Canaan Pro Series, Thursday in the Canaan Pro Series, and then Saturday night in the Truck Series, and then next Tuesday we're going to see how far this can escalate. And hopefully it won't go too far, because as these things go down, I mean, I don't believe in the Nationwide Series, at least, where all of these problems have arose, that either driver is in contention. Looking at it now, Sean Steller sits 8th place in points. He's actually gained 3 spots this past race, and Andrew Mickey is 11th after missing the show this past weekend. Where do we race? Chicago. That's what it is. So just reflecting on the past week here before we jump into discussing the nationwide race. Steve Andrews captured his first win in the Canaan Pro Series. And as far as the Camping World Truck Series goes, I actually broke Jesus Andrade's he was looking for 3 consecutive wins, and I outsmarted him. It looked like he was going to get it too, but he did finish second. He's doing pretty good over there, so hopefully the success that he's having in the Truck Series kind of relay, at least for my sake. And I think all of his fans want to see him do well. He's OCRL's most popular driver. Everybody wants to see Jesus run well, so he's going to need to hopefully step it up for his fans and everybody watching on. And this week, one of our interviewers sat down with Austin Painter, who was doing a lot of hospitality work before the race. Chicagoland is his home track in Joliet, Illinois. It's just something that's been really dear to him, and he sat down with our very own Scott Ickes for an interview.
Welcome everybody. We're here with Austin Painter, driver number 4, Ruby Tuesday Chevrolet. And this week we are going to Chicagoland in the Nationwide Series. Austin has had a pretty good run in the Nationwide Series and with these new cars. And well, Austin, this is your home track. You got to be excited about coming back here and racing here, and probably got a lot of history and memories here, don't you?
Oh yeah, I got a bunch of family members coming down. They're really excited to see me racing, and just haven't been, every time I come down here, I haven't been able to pull out a win. So hopefully we get a good run, and this new car maybe might help us out. We've been having some good runs.
Now we know, some drivers, they come to a track, whether it's their hometown track or their favorite track. Chicagoland being so close, is it a favorite track of yours, or is it more of just a hometown track of yours?
It's more of the hometown track, because I got a lot more favorite tracks that I run really well at and have a lot more fun at. This track is always, I always get the hype of the hometown, but I can never get a hold of the track and get it right and have a fun time. But spending time with the family is the only thing that really gives me the fun time around here.
Right. What are some of the things that you, your family, and friends do entering Chicagoland, getting into the track, and what do you guys do outside the track? Is there any festivities you guys like to go to or do before you go racing?
A lot of time we just, they always come out and sit and have that cookout for the race and everything, and we always just enjoy our time there. Just kind of get away from the track and do some four-wheeling, and really, I don't know, I don't go much from racing. Sports-wise, maybe I go play some baseball around town and stuff, but main focus, I'm always out either on the dirt track or racing. So I mean, I'm a born racer.
A lot of racers, most of the time they either get their start in either dirt track or go-karts or whatever. Did you guys run a lot of either of those around Chicago to get your career started around here?
Yeah, it was definitely the start was I started in the Hornet series and worked myself up in the dirt track, and then finally got into the nationwide and everything, and started working hard, and now I'm in the Sprint Cup series full time. Proud owner of Painter House Racing, and hopefully have a good year in the Sprint Cup series. But it's pretty cool to come back here and remember all the stuff that we went through to get to this point, and see all my fans that come back with all my T-shirts and stuff. And there's a lot more fans that show up here than around the other area, though.
Now, you mentioned the Sprint Cup Series. We've seen a couple of the competitors that you race against week in and week out, and they had a testing session a couple weeks ago. They said it went okay, but for the most part they were still kind of struggling with the car. Have you guys done any testing by yourselves to get ready for the new upcoming season here?
Yeah, me and Darren Go, we've been around and around just working on stuff. The new car is pretty cool, actually. I like it. The new wing on the back and the front end's different, and I feel like they did a pretty good job at it. Difference on the handling-wise, the wing does do a difference, but everything else, I think we're about the same. I think actually the one thing that they did do is even out the cars. I think a lot of the people who might be under team-wise, they don't have as much money towards the series. They are able to run with the top dogs like JRM and ART and Bombshell and them. So, and it's just, it happens that way. So I think that's going to make produce better racing, and definitely going to get some new winners here. Hopefully the young guns that are coming in, like our Monsell Fields, hopefully they'll get a couple wins under his belt like I did in the rookie year. So that's what my hopes are, is bring some rookie guys and have them win some instead of being behind the veterans.
Well, we know we're very excited for the Sprint Cup Series to get started. We're very excited to see some of the new rookies that are going to be starting the OCRL. We're happy that you came down and sat down with us before the race at Chicagoland Tuesday night. We know you got a lot of work to do before that, so we're going to let you go here. Thanks for spending the time.
All right, thank you.
So guys, after I got done interviewing him the other night before the nationwide race, he just seemed really committed to doing good here at Chicagoland. This is one of his favorite tracks, and racing around here, you know, in Chicago, you know, dirt late models and go-karts and whatnot, and just getting up through the ranks, he's really happy to come back and race at Chicagoland and meet all of his friends and family. It was really cool to interview him, and it was a good race.
Yeah, and it's you said that he strived on success, and just he was determined to do well, and he gave his fans a show. He sat on the pole, and this past week it was his first pole of the season, and ended up finishing fourth ultimately, but ran himself a good race. I believe that you got to race him for the most part for the lead, didn't you?
Yeah, the past few times I've been on track with Austin, actually we've been battling up front, and I mean, I've said it time and time again, and I'll continue to say it, you know, until the end of my career. That's one of the toughest, cleanest guys in the league to pass. I mean, every week he's fast on track. You know, he don't give you all the room in the world, but he gives you enough to where if you can make it happen, then you can get by him. And that's, to me, you can't get any better racing. When I get around him, I'm very confident that we can, you know, take it wide open into a corner, and we're both going to come out of it just the same as we went in. And I think he's had some bad luck. Like a lot of people have. I mean, he runs up front most every race at some point, and you know, he's going to be strong to finish out the season for sure.
Austin's currently 5th place in the standings, just 29 points behind Jason, the leader, and I was talking, a bunch of us were talking last night after the race, or Tuesday night after the race, and we were just talking about how competitive the race was. For the first time, and actually it's been a while, and you got to consider the tracks we've been to, Dover, Phoenix. So last night, or Tuesday night, why do I keep saying last night? Tuesday night in Chicago, it was just, I was telling my spotter, my crew chief, and some of the drivers we were hanging out with after the race that it was so much fun being able to pass people. It was so much passing, so much side-by-side, free-wide racing, and I want to just point out one aspect of the race that I think is one of the biggest highlights that they talked about for a while. The broadcasters did at least, was, I think it was the second restart after one of our cautions. Steve Anders started behind me, or he was on the outside row, and I was on the front row with Corey, and he come out of nowhere and passed us on the outside, kind of stabilized. We get down into turn one, and at that point I tried to make it happen, but I knew it wasn't going to work. He had such a good run, and the bottom line was the fastest at the point, so I was just kind of suckered in the middle there, and I hit the brakes. Someone got in the back of me, got me loose, and we shuffled back. But it was just a lot of fun. And then a couple of laps into that run, Jason, you had actually radioed in and said that he was pushing it so hard and making himself burn his stuff up overusing his equipment, and in turn he did end up spinning out, losing the car, and an amazing save by him and everybody around him. I think you may have been very close to that, Scott.
Yeah, I was just, driving up there. We didn't have the best car. We were a little tight and a little loose throughout the race, and, when he spun, I just tried to hang on and miss him. When you're going that fast, sometimes you can't miss him, but we were lucky enough to just drive around him. So, it was just a tough race, and that's how guys were. I mean, the track wasn't all that bad. It wasn't as bad as last week with the tires, but it was a pretty competitive race.
Yes, definitely indeed. And I think aside from Jason stinking up the show, it was definitely competitive. Just messing with you, Jason. You ran yourself a great race, and it was glad to see you. I'm glad to see you get in the victory lane rightfully.
Yeah, we've been working hard. I mean, it's this is probably the first full-length season I've been able to actually compete in each race so far, and I'm trying to make the most of it. Once we get into the next Cup season, the competition is going to tighten up tremendously, and I can't wait for that personally. But I would like to get, hopefully, get a championship in either series that we're running right now, because we may not be back in them for quite some time.
Yes, you've been doing a great job, and you mentioned the Cup Series season is definitely going to be exciting. I was actually talking to Sean Sadler earlier in the week, and he said that he was kind of upset with the way he's been running this season, and he's been the fastest testing those new cars. I just think the new style of them really works with what he's doing, and I hope he sticks in. He's going to be real fast to look out for. And just quick things before we close up the show here. The OCRL put out an official announcement about the call your own caution regulations. If you haven't gotten a chance to see that yet, swing by the OCRL.com, check it out, get used to it. That's the way they're going to do it. And so far, so good. It seems like it's been a good system aside from the incidents in the truck race that has been clarified. Just to clarify it one more time, it was an incident between me and Stevie. It was a spotter mix up. The yellow lights hadn't come out yet, and the yellow caution lights hadn't been flown yet, but I guess the spotter said the caution was out, and mine told me keep going, no caution, and he had pulled up in front of me at that point, completing a pass, and he hit the brakes, and that I didn't even anticipate it, and I ran smack dab in the back of him and ended his day. He was having a great run. I think he was one of the better trucks there. So again, I apologize for him. I've reached out and told him, let me know how much the bill is. I'd be more than happy to pay you that and then some for the troubles. And it's just a bad deal, but definitely looking forward. The K&N Pro Series race this Thursday. is going to be at the Milwaukee Mile this Saturday night. The Camping World Truck Series heads to Charlotte Motor Speedway. While there, the Nationwide Series will also be there Tuesday night, starting the second half of the season. Jason, you're looking forward to that track. I know I'm sitting here next to two guys that have been extremely successful there. Scott, you're definitely looking to turn around your season. 7th place in points is not expected of you at this point. You're 43 points back, not completely out of it yet. You can definitely do better. Everybody's pointing at you saying Charlotte's going to be the place you turn this thing around.
Yeah, we definitely hope so. That's always been a favorite track of mine, and going there, hopefully everything goes right, and we can go ahead and get ourselves a good finish, if not even a win, hopefully.
And Jason, you might not have the track record that Scott Ickes does, but clearly every time we've been there, you've been fast, you've won races. Got to be one that's been checked off on your list for a long time.
Yeah, I mean, I won in the truck series last season, and I'm trying to carry over some notes and some setup help from that chassis and see what we can do with this new COT style of nationwide car we're running. And for the most part, we've got a handle on it for the new car we've got. But I'm gonna tell you, I've looked at past races, and Scott's gonna be strong. He's gonna bring his A game, I'm sure. And I wouldn't say that it'd be any stretch of the imagination to pick him for a winner this week.
All right, gentlemen, before we end the show, do you have anything else you'd like to add in?
Yeah, tonight, or Thursday and Saturday and Tuesday, just be sure we'll be broadcasting the races on Ustream. So if you are a racing fan and keep up with the races that we have and stuff, and you want to watch it, definitely go to Ustream, Goodyear 17, and you'll definitely see the channel and be able to watch the race.
Live broadcasting is exactly what you want, especially if you're a driver who can't make the race, you're at work, you got a laptop nearby, hop on to Ustream, look up Goodyear 17 as he mentioned, and watch us live. It's going to be exciting, and hopefully maybe later on we can get it hooked onto the website where you don't have to go through all the work. It'll be right there for you, easy access, and it'll all be good to go. But it's been a great show, boys, and I'm looking forward to this weekend in Charlotte. It should be fun. And on behalf of everyone here at the OCRL and OCRL Studios, I got to thank Austin Painter for his interview and his time, and everybody who watches and makes this show continue week in and week out. I'm Jeff Baki Jr.
I'm Scott Ickes.
And I'm Jason Gaines.
We'll see you guys next week from Charlotte Motor Speedway.